The black ships came from the void like hungry wolves hunting sheep. Admiral Kang De-ho stood on the bridge of his flagship watching the enemy fleet through the main screen. The Zenthari ships looked like toys compared to his massive warships. Their golden hulls gleamed in the light of the system's twin suns, but Kang knew they would not shine for much longer. "All ships prepare for attack." Kang spoke into his communicator. His voice was calm and cold, like winter ice. Around him, his crew worked at their stations with quick hands and focused eyes. These humans had trained for this moment for years. They knew exactly what they had to do. The Zenthari had ruled this system for 300 years. They thought their technology was the best in the galaxy. They had never lost a major battle in their long history. Today would change everything they believed about war and death. Captain Lee So-min piloted her destroyer through the enemy formation like a shark cutting through water. Her ship was called Retribution, and it carried the most advanced weapons humanity had ever built. The plasma cannons on her vessel could melt through any known armor in seconds. She had tested them many times on captured alien ships. "Target their command vessel," So-min ordered her weapons officer. The young man nodded, and his fingers moved across the control panel. Red lights flashed as the ship's main guns turned toward the largest Zenthari cruiser. The alien vessel was huge and covered with defensive shields, but So-min knew those shields would not help them today. The first blast from Retribution tore through the enemy ship like paper. The plasma beam burned so hot it turned the metal hull into glowing gas. Zenthari sailors died before they could even scream. Their command ship broke apart in bright explosions that lit up the darkness of space. Other human ships joined the attack. Their black hulls moved through the battle like deadly ghosts. Every shot they fired found its target. Every target they hit was destroyed completely. The Zenthari return fire bounced off the human shields like raindrops hitting stone. On the planet below, Ambassador Park Jin-woo watched the space battle through his observation deck. He was a tall man with sharp eyes and a cold smile. His job was to speak for humanity to the alien races, but his words always carried the threat of violence. Today, he would deliver the most important message of his career. The Zenthari ground. Commander General Zelkar came to meet Park with 12 of his best soldiers. The aliens looked like tall lizards with golden scales and proud expressions. They had ruled this world for generations and thought humans were just another young race, to be ignored or controlled. "Your fleet is being destroyed above us," Park told the general. His words were simple, but his meaning was clear. "You have two choices now. Submit to human authority or watch your people burn with your ships." General Zelkar raised his weapon, but Park did not move. Behind the human ambassador stood 6 soldiers in black armor. Their faces were hidden behind dark masks, and their weapons hummed with deadly energy. These were not ordinary human troops. They had been changed by technology and training into something more than human. "We will never bow to a lesser species," the Zenthari general declared. His voice shook with anger, but Park could hear the fear underneath. The alien had seen what human weapons could do. He knew his people were facing something they had never encountered before. "Then you have chosen death," Park replied. He pressed a button on his wrist device and spoke into it. "Colonel Kim, begin the bombardment. Show them what happens to those who refuse our offer." High above the planet, Admiral Kang received the message. He turned to his communications officer and gave the order that would change this world forever. "Begin orbital bombardment. Target all military installations and government buildings. Leave nothing standing." The human ships turned their massive guns toward the planet below. Each vessel carried enough firepower to level entire cities. The bombardment began with flashes of light that could be seen from space. Zenthari defense stations vanished in seconds. Their proud cities started to burn. Captain So-min led a squadron of fighters down to the planet's surface. Her mission was to hunt down any surviving Zenthari leaders and destroy their ability to fight back. The human fighters moved faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. Their weapons turned buildings into rubble and vehicles into scrap metal. Dr. Yoon Ha-na worked in her laboratory aboard the science vessel Discovery. She was developing new weapons that would make today's battle look like a small fight between children. Her latest creation could turn entire stars into weapons of destruction. She called it the Stellar Converter, and she knew it would make humanity the master of the galaxy. On Earth, President Cho Min-ho addressed the United Earth Council. He stood before the greatest leaders of humanity and spoke about their destiny among the stars. His words were broadcast to every human colony and every human ship in space. For too long, we have been trapped on one small world, while aliens rule. The galaxy, President Cho declared. Our ancestors dreamed of reaching the stars, but they lacked the strength to claim what should be ours. We will not make their mistake. We will take our rightful place as the dominant species in this galaxy. The Zenthari resistance crumbled within hours. Their ships were destroyed or captured. Their leaders were dead or in hiding. Their proud empire had become nothing more than burning ruins and scattered refugees. News of the defeat spread through space faster than light itself. Other alien races received the reports with growing terror. The Morvani philosophers who had never known war in their 1,000-year history began to flee their crystal cities. The Galactic Trade Coalition called emergency meetings as panic spread through their member worlds. Species that had lived in peace for centuries suddenly began building weapons and preparing for war. Fleet Commander Nam Soo-jin led the second wave of human ships toward the next target system. Her vessels were loaded with troops and weapons ready to continue humanity's expansion across the galaxy. She had studied the enemy defenses and knew exactly how to destroy them. The aliens would learn that resistance was useless against human technology and determination. The battle for the Zenthari system lasted only 6 hours from start to finish. When it ended, 12 alien worlds had fallen under human control. Millions of alien civilians had fled their homes carrying nothing but fear and desperate hope. The proud species that had ruled this region of space for centuries were now refugees begging other races for shelter. Admiral Kang stood on his bridge, looking at the burning planet below. His ships had achieved total victory without losing a single vessel. This was just the beginning of humanity's march across the galaxy. Soon every alien race would know the name of Earth and tremble at the sound of human voices. The message went out to every corner of known space. It was broadcast in hundreds of alien languages, but the meaning was always the same. Humanity had arrived, and they were not interested in peace or negotiation. They wanted everything, and they had the power to take it. The galaxy would never be the same again. 6 months had passed since the fall of the Zenthari Empire, and the galaxy burned with the fires of human expansion. General Kim Tae-sung stood in the command center of his assault ship, watching Nexus Prime grow larger on the main screen. The planet was the most heavily defended world in the Galactic Trade Coalition, but he felt no concern about the coming battle. His mechanized infantry waited in the drop bays ready for combat. These were not ordinary human soldiers anymore. Each warrior had been enhanced with cybernetic implants that made them faster and stronger than any natural being. Their bones were reinforced with metal alloys, and their muscles were boosted with synthetic fibers. Most importantly, their minds had been connected to the ship's computer systems, so they could share information instantly during battle. "Begin the assault," General Kim ordered. The words echoed through the ship as thousands of drop pods launched toward the planet's surface. Each pod carried 5 enhanced soldiers and enough weapons to destroy a small city. The Coalition defenders opened fire with everything they had, but their projectiles bounced harmlessly off the pod's armored shells. Dr. Yoon Ha-na worked frantically in her laboratory aboard the research vessel Discovery. The ship hung in empty space near the dead system of Gliese 447, where she was preparing to test her greatest creation. The stellar converter was a weapon that could turn any star into a tool of destruction. She had spent months calculating the exact energy frequencies needed to destabilize stellar fusion. "All systems are ready for the test," her assistant reported. The young scientist looked nervous as he checked the readings on his console. They were about to attempt something that had never been tried before in the history of any known civilization. "Begin the conversion sequence," Dr. Yoon commanded. The massive device activated with a low humming sound that vibrated through the ship's hull. Energy beams shot out from Discovery toward the system's orange star. At first, nothing seemed to happen, but then the star began to change color from orange to red to brilliant white. The stellar flare erupted from the star's surface like a giant tongue of fire reaching across space. It struck the 3 dead planets in the system and turned them into glowing balls of molten rock within minutes. The energy release was so intense that ships in nearby systems detected the radiation burst. On Earth, President Cho Min-ho reviewed the test results with satisfaction. The stellar converter had worked perfectly, and now humanity possessed a weapon that could sterilize entire solar systems. No alien race would be able to resist when faced with the threat of having their sun turned against them. Back on Nexus Prime, General Kim's enhanced soldiers moved through the coalition defenses like wolves hunting sheep. The alien defenders fought bravely, but their conventional weapons could not penetrate the humans' advanced armor. Plasma rifles that could melt through tank armor left only small burns on the black combat suits worn by Kim's troops. The coalition had prepared for this attack for months. They had built massive underground bunkers filled with their best soldiers and most advanced weapons. They had studied recordings of previous human battles and thought they understood what they were facing. They were wrong about everything. Sergeant Bae Won-sik led his squad through the main coalition bunker complex. His cybernetic eyes could see in total darkness, and his enhanced hearing picked up the slightest sounds from the enemy. The aliens had tried to set traps, but the human soldiers detected every ambush before walking into it. "Enemy squad ahead," one of his men reported through their mental link. The information flowed directly into Bae's brain, along with tactical data about enemy positions and weapons. His squad moved forward like a single organism with 5 bodies instead of 5 separate individuals. The coalition defenders opened fire as soon as they saw the humans. Their energy weapons lit up the dark tunnels with bright flashes, but every shot missed its target. The enhanced soldiers moved too fast for organic reflexes to track. They seemed to dance between the enemy projectiles as if they knew where each shot would go before it was fired. Fleet Commander Nam Soo-jin prepared for the Battle of Crimson Nebula aboard her flagship Vengeance. The coalition had gathered their largest remaining fleet in this region, hoping to stop human expansion before it reached the core worlds. They had chosen the nebula as their battlefield because the electromagnetic interference would blind human sensors and level the playing field. "They think the nebula will protect them," Nam said to her bridge crew. Her voice carried the cold confidence that had made her one of humanity's most feared commanders. "They do not understand that we planned for this possibility long before we left Earth." The coalition fleet waited in the nebula's center with weapons ready and shields at maximum power. Their ships were arranged in a defensive formation that had worked well against other alien enemies. Admiral Vor-Shan of the Altarian Republic commanded the Allied forces, and he felt confident about their chances of victory. The human ships approached the nebula like black phantoms sliding through space. Their hulls were designed to absorb electromagnetic radiation instead of reflecting it. The nebula that was supposed to blind them actually made their ships nearly invisible to enemy sensors. "All ships, activate stealth mode," Nam ordered. Her fleet vanished from the coalition's detection systems as advanced cloaking devices engaged. The human vessels continued forward through the nebula guided by sensors that could penetrate any interference. The attack came without warning. Human ships materialized around the coalition fleet like demons appearing from nowhere. Their weapons fired at point-blank range into the alien vessels before the defenders could react. 3 coalition cruisers exploded in the first seconds of battle. Admiral Vor-Shan screamed orders to his remaining ships, but chaos had already taken hold of his formation. His vessels fired wildly into the nebula, hoping to hit the invisible human attackers. Most of their shots struck other coalition ships by mistake. The careful defensive formation collapsed into a deadly tangle of confused allies. Nam watched the slaughter with cold satisfaction. Her tactical display showed coalition ships dying one by one as her captains picked them off with surgical precision. The enemy had fallen into her trap perfectly, and now they would pay the price for underestimating human cunning. On Nexus Prime, the last coalition stronghold finally fell to General Kim's assault. The underground command center that was supposed to be impregnable had been captured in less than 4 hours. The coalition leaders who had planned to coordinate galactic resistance were now prisoners or corpses. President Cho received reports of victory from across human space. 12 more systems had fallen in the past month, bringing the total number of conquered worlds to 47. Refugee ships packed with alien civilians fled deeper into the galaxy, carrying tales of human brutality that spread fear wherever they went. The Altarian Republic began construction of massive fortress worlds near the galactic core. They stripped entire planets of resources to build defensive stations that could withstand human attacks. The ancient ethereal collective awakened weapons that had slept for millennia and prepared to face an enemy unlike any they had fought before. Dr. Yunhana began work on an even more terrible weapon. The stellar converter had been just the beginning of her research into stellar manipulation. Her new project would allow human fleets to move entire stars from their natural positions and use them as mobile weapons platforms. The galaxy watched, in growing terror, as humanity's expansion continued without pause. Species that had ruled space for thousands of years found themselves reduced to refugees, begging for sanctuary on distant worlds. The name of Earth became a curse word in 100 alien languages. Deep in the galactic core, ancient sensors detected the human advance and began to wake systems that had been dormant for centuries. Hidden facilities activated their defensive protocols and sent coded messages to ships that few beings in the galaxy remembered. The sleeping giant was beginning to stir, but it would be months before anyone realized what that meant. Admiral Kang stood on his bridge looking at star charts that showed human territory expanding like a red stain across the galaxy. Soon, they would control half of known space, and no alien force would be strong enough to stop them. The dream of human dominion over the stars was becoming reality faster than anyone had thought possible. The war for the galaxy had only just begun. Captain Bae Young-sik guided his scout ship through the debris fields surrounding the dead star. His mission was to map the outer regions of human expansion and locate any remaining alien strongholds that might threaten the advance toward the galactic core. What he found instead would shake the foundations of everything humanity believed about their place in the universe. The massive structures orbiting the dead star defied easy description. They stretched for thousands of kilometers across space, like the skeleton of some impossible beast made of metal and crystal. The construction was clearly artificial, but the technology was unlike anything in human or alien databases. Most disturbing of all were the markings carved into the hull sections. "Sir, you need to see this," his sensor operator called out. The young woman's voice carried a note of confusion that made Bae move quickly to her station. On the screen were detailed scans of the strange symbols covering the derelict structures. The markings were human writing, not the modern script used by the current Earth government, but an ancient form that predated the formation of the United Earth Council by centuries. Some of the symbols matched records from humanity's earliest space missions, but others were completely unknown. "Send everything back to Fleet Command immediately," Bae ordered. His ship's quantum transmitter activated and beamed the scan data toward the nearest human base. The implications of his discovery would require analysis by the brightest minds. In human space, Dr. Shin A. Young received the transmission aboard the research vessel Pioneer as it traveled toward the front lines. She was humanity's leading expert on alien archaeology, but the data from Captain Bae's scout mission confused her more than any alien ruins she had ever studied. The construction techniques used to build the orbital structures were clearly human in origin. The metal alloys matched compositions found in early Earth manufacturing, and the energy signatures were consistent with fusion technology developed during humanity's first expansion into space. The problem was that according to all historical records, no human ships had ever traveled this far from Earth. "This is impossible," Dr. Shin muttered as she studied the data. Her computer models showed that the structures were at least 400 years old. That would place their construction during the early days of human space exploration, when Earth's technology was primitive compared to current standards. The mystery deepened when her analysis revealed that the builders of these installations possessed technology far more advanced than anything humanity currently used. The power systems were based on principles that modern human science barely understood. The materials showed signs of manipulation at the molecular level using techniques that did not exist in any known database. Deep in the galactic core, Admiral Ryu Wan-ho stood in the command center of Sanctuary Station reviewing intelligence reports about the expanding conflict. His facility was hidden inside a massive asteroid that had been hollowed out and converted into a military base centuries ago. The technology surrounding him made the most advanced human ships look like primitive toys. "The corruption has spread further than we feared," Admiral Ryu told his council of advisors. The men and women around the conference table wore uniforms that bore the ancient insignia of the United Nations. Their faces showed the weight of decisions that would affect the fate of entire civilizations. These were the descendants of Earth's first wave of expansion into space. They had left their home world long before the current government took power and had built a hidden civilization in the depths of the galaxy. For centuries they had watched and waited while their distant cousins on Earth developed into something they no longer recognized. The Void Dominion believes they represent true humanity, Admiral Ryu continued. His voice carried the sadness of a parent watching a beloved child choose the path of evil. They have forgotten what it means to be human. They know only conquest and destruction. The true Earth Federation possessed technology that seemed to violate the basic laws of physics. Their ships could phase through normal space-time and appear anywhere in the galaxy without warning. Their soldiers commanded forces that could reshape matter at the atomic level. Their computer networks spanned entire star clusters and could process information faster than light itself. Commander Oh Ji-hoon led a patrol squadron through the outer regions when his sensors detected something that should not exist. A single ship was moving through the area using a flight pattern that matched no known alien or human design. When he moved closer to investigate, the vessel seemed to shimmer and change like a mirage in space. The ship bore markings that made Oh's blood run cold. The hull carried the ancient symbol of Earth's United Nations along with registration numbers from the first wave of human expansion. According to every historical record, these ships had been lost centuries ago in the early days of space exploration. Unknown vessel, identify yourself. Oh, transmitted on all frequencies. The response came back in perfect Earth standard, but the accent was strange and old-fashioned. It sounded like recordings he had heard of ancient Earth politicians and scientists. This is Captain Lee Min-jun of the UES Pathfinder, came the reply. We are conducting routine patrol operations in this sector. Please state your business and authorization codes. Oh felt his hands shake as he realized what he was facing. The ship in front of him was supposed to be a legend from humanity's past, but the technology readings showed systems far more advanced than anything the Void Dominion possessed. The vessel seemed to exist partially outside normal space-time. Back on New Terra, President Cho studied the reports coming in from the front lines with growing unease. Strange contacts that appeared and vanished without explanation. Ancient human installations in regions where no human had ever traveled. Ships bearing Earth symbols but using impossible technology. Sir, our deep space monitors are detecting unusual energy signatures throughout the outer rim, his intelligence chief reported. The man's face was pale with concern as he presented data that challenged everything they thought they knew about the galaxy. The energy patterns matched human technology, but at power levels that should have been impossible to achieve. The signatures appeared simultaneously across thousands of light years, suggesting either faster-than-light communication or a network of installations far larger than anything the current Earth government had built. Dr. Yoon Ha-na worked frantically to analyze the new data from her laboratory aboard Discovery. Her instruments detected quantum fluctuations that suggested massive distortions in space-time itself. Something or someone was manipulating the fundamental forces of the universe on a scale that dwarfed anything in human experience. The source appears to be moving, she reported to Fleet Command. Whatever is generating these readings is not stationary. It's as if entire star systems are being relocated through space. General Kim Tae-sung received new orders while his forces prepared for the next assault. Instead of attacking alien worlds, his enhanced soldiers were being redirected to investigate the mysterious installations found by scouting missions. The mission parameters were classified at the highest levels, and even he did not know the full scope of what they were facing. On Sanctuary Station, Admiral Ryu made the decision that would change the course of the war. For centuries, the true Earth Federation had remained hidden while their corrupt cousins built an empire of blood and terror. The time for secrecy was ending. Begin Phase 1 of the Revelation Protocol, he ordered. Let them see what true human technology can accomplish. Show them that their little empire is nothing compared to the real children of Earth. Fleet Admiral Young So-ra received her orders aboard the flagship Eternal Dawn. Her battle group consisted of ships that existed partially outside normal reality. They could appear anywhere in the galaxy without warning, and their weapons could unmake matter at the quantum level. The first strike would be surgical and devastating. Every Void Dominion installation in the outer spiral would simply vanish from existence. The corrupt Earth government would learn that they were not the only humans in the galaxy, and they were far from being the most powerful. Captain Bay Young 6, scout ship, detected massive energy buildups throughout his patrol sector. The readings were off every scale his instruments could measure. Whatever was coming would make the previous battles look like minor skirmishes between children. The hidden war was about to become visible, and the galaxy would learn that humanity's true strength had been sleeping in the depths of space for centuries. The Void Dominion thought they were the apex of human achievement, but they were about to face their own species' ultimate evolution. The real children of Earth were coming home. The attack came without warning across 12 star systems simultaneously. Admiral Kang stood on his bridge watching in horror as every Void Dominion installation in the outer spiral simply vanished from existence. One moment, the military bases were there sending routine status reports, and the next moment empty space remained where thousands of soldiers and civilians had been working. "Sir, we're detecting massive energy signatures throughout the sector," his communications officer reported. The young man's voice shook with fear as readings flooded his console that showed power levels beyond anything in human experience. "The sources appear to be moving through space faster than our sensors can track." Fleet Admiral Jung Sora commanded the True Earth Federation's primary battle group from her flagship Eternal Dawn. The vessel existed partially outside normal spacetime, which allowed it to appear anywhere in the galaxy without crossing the distance between points. Her crew worked with calm efficiency as they prepared to reveal themselves to their corrupt cousins. "Begin transmission on all frequencies," Admiral Young ordered. "Let them hear the voice of true humanity before we show them our strength." The message that reached every Void Dominion ship and station was broadcast in perfect Earth standard, but carried an authority that made veteran commanders feel like children being scolded by angry parents. The voice belonged to a woman but seemed to echo with the weight of centuries. "We are the True Earth Federation, and we speak for the real children of Earth," the transmission began. "You who call yourselves the Void Dominion have shamed our species with your brutality and forgotten what it means to be human. We will restore balance to the galaxy and show these alien races that not all humans are monsters." Captain Lee So-min received emergency orders aboard her destroyer Retribution to investigate the strange energy readings in her sector. Her ship had been the terror of alien fleets for months, but now she faced something that made her weapons seem like toys. The enemy vessel that appeared on her screens defied every law of physics she understood. The ship looked similar to human designs, but moved through space in ways that should have been impossible. It seemed to phase in and out of reality like a ghost made of metal and energy. When So-min ordered her crew to target the vessel, their weapons locked onto empty space, even though the ship remained clearly visible. "Fire all weapons," she commanded, desperately. Her plasma cannons unleashed their full power at the mysterious ship, but every shot passed harmlessly through the target, as if it was made of light instead of matter. The enemy vessel continued its approach without even acknowledging the attack. General Kim Tae-sung found himself trapped on Kepler Station as Federation forces materialized inside his supposedly impregnable bunkers. His cybernetically enhanced soldiers fired frantically at enemies who moved like ghosts through solid walls. The Federation troops wore armor that seemed to bend light around it and carried weapons that made matter simply cease to exist. "Sir, the enemy is inside all our defensive positions simultaneously," one of his sergeants reported. "They're not using transporters or drop pods, they're just appearing wherever they want to be." The Federation soldiers moved with inhuman grace through the station's corridors. They did not run or take cover like normal troops, but walked calmly, through the heaviest weapons fire as if bullets and energy beams were merely illusions. When they returned fire, their weapons did not create explosions or energy beams, but simply made their targets disappear from reality. Dr. Yoon Ha-na watched her research stations being captured intact from her laboratory aboard Discovery. The Federation forces had taken control of all her stellar conversion technology without damaging a single piece of equipment. She realized with growing terror that these enemies understood her work better than she did. "Dr. Yoon Ha-na," a voice spoke. Behind her, she spun around to find a woman in Federation uniform standing in her sealed laboratory, despite the fact that all entrances remained locked and guarded. "My name is Dr. Huang Minji, and I need to examine your research." The Federation scientist looked at Yoon's weapons designs with barely concealed disgust. Her instruments scanned the stellar converter technology and recorded every detail while she shook her head in disappointment. "How far we have fallen," Dr. Huang murmured as she studied the data. "To mistake destruction for progress and confuse fear with respect. Your weapons are clever, but they show a complete misunderstanding of what power really means." President Cho paced frantically in his command center on New Terra as reports flooded in from across human space. Half his fleet had simply vanished without a trace, while the other half reported contacts that appeared and disappeared at will. The enemy seemed to possess technology that made the Void Dominion's most advanced weapons look primitive. "Sir, we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth itself," his communications chief announced. "The source is coming from inside the Sol system, but we have no ships or stations in that location." The message that appeared on the main screen showed a man in an ancient Earth uniform, standing in what looked like a command center that stretched beyond the camera's view. Behind him moved figures in similar uniforms, while displays showed star charts that covered the entire galaxy. "President Cho of the so-called Void Dominion," the man began. "I am Admiral Ryu Wanho of the True Earth Federation. Your reign of terror across the galaxy ends today. You will order all your forces to stand down immediately and prepare to face judgment for your crimes against both humanity and the innocent species you have slaughtered." Cho felt his hands shake as he realized the implications of what he was seeing. These people claimed to represent the real Earth government, and their technology suggested they were telling the truth. His empire that had seemed invincible was facing enemies who possessed power beyond his comprehension. "Activate the planetary defense grid," he ordered desperately. "Use every weapon we have stored on Earth. If these people want a fight, we'll give them one they'll never forget." Deep beneath Earth's surface, ancient systems came online for the first time in centuries. Weapons platforms that predated the Void Dominion by generations began to charge their power cores. The planet itself had been turned into the ultimate fortress by humanity's original expansion, but even these defenses might not be enough. Admiral Ryu watched the desperate activation of Earth's old defense systems from his command center on Sanctuary Station. The weapons coming online were powerful enough to sterilize star systems, but they were crude compared to what the True Earth Federation had developed during their centuries of hidden growth. "They're using our grandfather's weapons against us," he told his staff with sad irony. "Those defense grids were built to protect Earth from alien invasion. Now they're being turned against Earth's true children by the very corruption we sought to escape." Commander Oh Ji-hoon led his squadron in a desperate retreat as Federation ships materialized around his formation. The enemy vessels moved through space like predators that had evolved beyond the need for conventional physics. His weapons were useless against targets that could phase through normal matter at will. "All ships break formation and scatter," he ordered his pilots. "Use evasive pattern Omega and try to reach the nearest jump point. Do not engage the enemy under any circumstances." The Federation ships did not pursue the fleeing Void Dominion forces. They simply watched as the corrupt humans ran in terror before vanishing back into whatever dimension they had emerged from. The message was clear without words. The True Earth Federation could destroy the Void Dominion whenever they chose, but they preferred to demonstrate their superiority first. Fleet Admiral Jung prepared for the next phase of the revelation as her battle group moved toward the Sol system itself. The corrupt Earth government had chosen to fight rather than surrender, which meant the confrontation would have to be settled by force. The galaxy would witness humanity at war with itself among the stars where the species was born. "Signal all Federation fleets to begin convergence on Earth," she ordered. "It's time to show our wayward cousins what their homeworld has become while they were busy conquering aliens. They think they've seen the height of human achievement, but the real demonstration is about to begin." The war between two versions of humanity was about to reach its climax in the very system where the species first looked up at the stars and dreamed of conquest. The galaxy watched in fascination and terror as the children of Earth prepared to battle for the right to speak for their entire species. The true test of human power was finally beginning. The final battle for humanity's soul began in the solar system where their species was born. Admiral Kang led the last remnants of the Void Dominion fleet in a desperate defense near Jupiter's moons, but he knew they were facing something beyond their ability to defeat. The True Earth Federation had saved their greatest revelation for this moment. Massive structures began to decloak throughout the solar system as the battle raged. The asteroid belt revealed itself to be a constructed ring of weapon platforms that had been hidden for centuries. Each platform was larger than a city and bristled with weapons that could crack planets apart. The disguise had been perfect until now. "Sir, the entire asteroid belt is artificial," Kang's sensor operator reported in a voice filled with disbelief. "The energy readings suggest it's all one massive installation. We're not looking at scattered rocks, but a single constructed defense system." Admiral Ryu stood in the command center deep inside the largest asteroid platform, watching the battle unfold on screens that showed every detail of the conflict. His people had spent centuries preparing for this day, when they would finally reveal the true scope of human achievement to their corrupt cousins. "Begin the full revelation sequence," he ordered calmly. "Show them what Earth really became while they were playing at being conquerors in distant space." Mars began to change before the eyes of both fleets. The red planet's surface cracked open, like a flower blooming in space. Beneath the familiar rusty exterior lay vast military installations that had been hidden since the early days of human expansion. Shipyards that could build vessels the size of small moons. Weapon testing facilities that used captured stars as power sources. The moon itself split apart, revealing the control center of humanity's true stellar empire. The familiar gray surface fell away in massive sections to expose a crystalline core that pulsed with energy patterns visible across the entire solar system. From this hidden heart, Admiral Ryu had commanded Federation forces throughout the galaxy for over a century. President Cho watched in horror from his command bunker on Earth as the truth became clear. His void dominion had discovered humanity's outer colonies and frontier settlements, but Earth itself had never been lost or abandoned. It had been transformed into the ultimate fortress while he and his followers conquered aliens with primitive weapons. "All planetary defense grids are responding to external command signals," his defense chief reported. "Sir, someone else is controlling our weapons. The enemy has access to systems we didn't even know existed." Fleet Admiral Jung brought her flagship Eternal Dawn into the heart of the battle zone. The massive vessel existed partially in normal space and partially in dimensions that human science barely understood. Her crew worked with the calm efficiency of people who had trained for this moment their entire lives. "Signal the surviving Void Dominion forces," she ordered. "Give them one final chance to surrender before we demonstrate the full power of the true Earth Federation." Captain Song Jae-min commanded the Federation cruiser New Horizon as it approached the remnants of Admiral Kang's fleet. His ship could phase through normal matter at will, and his weapons could unmake targets at the quantum level. The corrupt humans had fought bravely, but they were children playing with toys compared to true Federation technology. "This is Captain Song of the True Earth Federation," he broadcast to the enemy ships. "Admiral Kang, your empire is finished, and your forces are defeated. Join us willingly and help heal the wounds you have carved across the galaxy. Continue this madness and face the full might of humanity united." The revelation continued as hidden installations throughout the solar system came online. Jupiter's moons opened to reveal massive shipyards, where vessels were grown rather than built, using technology that merged living tissue with advanced metals. Saturn's rings reorganized themselves into orbital platforms that could move entire planets from their natural positions. General Lim Da-yoon led the Planetary Defense Corps in their first open action in over 2 centuries. Her soldiers had been training in zero-gravity combat since childhood, and their equipment made the Void Dominion's enhanced troops look primitive. They did not wear armor, but instead bonded with living metal that became part of their bodies. "All units advance to contact," she ordered as her forces moved to secure the remaining Void Dominion strongholds on Earth itself. "Remember, these are our own species, even if they have forgotten what that means. Use minimum necessary force and take prisoners whenever possible." Dr. Huang Min-ji worked frantically to reprogram the stellar conversion technology captured from Dr. Yoon's laboratories. Instead of using stars as weapons, she intended to reverse the process and heal the damage done to systems that had been attacked by Void Dominion forces. The Federation possessed the power to restore life to dead worlds. The conversion process can be reversed, she reported to Admiral Ryu. "We can undo most of the damage they caused to the alien civilizations. It will take time, but we can give these species back their homeworlds and help them rebuild what was destroyed." Admiral Kang faced the ultimate choice as Federation ships surrounded his last few vessels. His weapons were useless against enemies who could phase through normal matter, and his shields provided no protection against weapons that attacked targets at the quantum level. He could continue fighting and watch his remaining crew die, or he could accept defeat from his own species. "All ships stand down and prepare to be boarded," he ordered finally. His voice carried the weight of a man who had seen his entire worldview collapse in a matter of hours. "Signal our surrender to the Federation forces. We have lost everything we thought we were fighting for." President Cho made his final desperate gambit as Federation troops moved through Earth's cities. He activated the planetary doomsday weapon that was supposed to turn Earth's core into a stellar fusion bomb. The device had been built as a last resort against alien invasion, but now he intended to use it against humanity's true children. "If we cannot rule, then no one will," he declared as he reached for the activation controls. "Better to die as humans than live as slaves to these traitors who abandoned Earth for the stars." Admiral Ryu appeared in the command bunker without warning as Cho's hand moved toward the weapon controls. The Federation leader had used dimensional phase technology to materialize directly inside the heavily defended facility. His presence filled the room with an authority that made hardened soldiers step back in fear. "You were never abandoned," Admiral Ryu told the defeated president in a voice filled with sadness. "We left Earth to explore the galaxy and build a better future for our species. We always planned to return when humanity was ready to take its place as protectors rather than conquerors." The final revelation came as 1,000,000 Federation ships emerged from hidden bases throughout known space. They had been the galaxy's silent guardians for centuries, protecting younger species from threats, while their wayward cousins learned harsh lessons about the cost of unchecked aggression. Every major alien civilization had unknowingly benefited from Federation protection. The Xanthari refugees who had fled their destroyed worlds received messages of hope as Federation reconstruction fleets moved to restore their damaged systems. The Morvani philosophers found their crystal cities being rebuilt with technology that surpassed their original beauty. Species that had feared extinction discovered that humanity's true representatives possessed the power to heal as well as destroy. "We are beginning the Galactic Restoration Project," Admiral Ryu announced to both human factions and alien species throughout known space. "The damage done by the Void Dominion will be repaired, and these civilizations will be helped to rebuild what was lost. Humanity will take its place as the galaxy's guardians rather than its conquerors." The epilogue unfolded across hundreds of worlds as Federation technology reversed the devastation caused by the war. Dead planets bloomed with new life as stellar converters were used to restart the fusion processes in damaged stars. Refugee fleets found new homes on worlds that had been restored to their original beauty. Captain Lee So-min stood trial before a Federation tribunal for her crimes during the conquest, but was offered the chance to serve with the restoration fleets. Many Void Dominion personnel chose to join the Federation and help repair the damage they had caused. Others returned to frontier colonies where they could start new lives away from the memories of war. President Cho spent his remaining years in a Federation rehabilitation facility learning about the true history of human expansion and the responsibilities that came with advanced technology. He never fully accepted his defeat, but gradually understood why his empire had been doomed from the moment it chose conquest over cooperation. The galaxy learned to see humanity in a new light, as Federation ships brought aid to devastated worlds and protection to threatened species. The name of Earth became associated with hope and healing rather than fear and destruction. Children of a dozen alien races grew up hearing stories of the humans who came from the stars to help rather than harm. Admiral Ryu returned to his command center on Sanctuary Station, knowing that humanity had finally claimed its true destiny among the stars. They had learned through fire and failure that true strength came from protecting the weak rather than conquering them.